Hello and welcome to Being Human. I'm really excited to share today's episode with you, The Art of Choosing Yourself. Now, before you get into it, I wanted to share that when I was shooting this podcast episode, for some reason the video and the audio got mixed up and the words no longer matched what you were seeing me speak. And so I made a decision around cutting the video. So there's not going to be any video for this podcast. However, you are going to see a loop of multiple nature walks on Vancouver Island, which is where we actually reside. So it's going to be really cool in that way. But I just wanted to give you that heads up in case you're like, why am I seeing nature instead of seeing Ethan speak? That would be why. So we're going to fix the future tech problems, but everything happens for a reason. So enjoy the little bits of nature if you're choosing to watch this on YouTube. And get ready to blast off. The art of choosing yourself.
There's this idea in the world that if we put ourselves first, it's considered very selfish. But what if putting ourselves first is the most human thing that we can do? That's going to be what we're exploring in today's podcast episode. Now, this is going to be a solo cast. Donovan isn't here. Brother Dono is actually out supporting Sundance. Now, this is something which is funny because this is it. This is part of it. I was invited to go out and support Sundance as well. And at first I said yes to it. At first I was game for it. Man, I've been talking about going out to Sundance for the last number of years and really wanting to be in that way. And it was interesting because it was only maybe 3 weeks ago that I had this feeling in my body, that I had this feeling and this hunch and this intuition that Sundance isn't it. And it was funny because it was like, there's this part of me that was like, but I want to go, but these people are going, but Naite is going to be there, but Donovan's going to be there, but Bill's going to be there, but all these people are going to be there. And I was like, okay, now I'm in this conundrum kind of like, I should go. And there's this part of me that wants to go because everybody's going. But deep down inside, there's this part of me that knows that that's not what's for me right now. And so it was hard for me to make that decision. It was hard for me to be like, hey, I'm not going to come to Sundance. I'm actually going to stay home. I'm actually going to go on an adventure by myself. I'm going to do other things. I'm going to take care of myself in a different way. Now, I find that interesting because, again, that comes back to choosing ourselves. It's very selfish to choose ourselves, right? Because in some ways, I'm going to Sundance to be completely selfish, to support the people who are dancing, to be of service in that way. But if I would have listened to that and gone because it was something that I thought I had to do, then is that really the most loving thing that I could do for the people that are there and for myself? Is that really honoring that? And so that's funny that that even came up first thing, because that's what we're exploring in today's Solocast. It's just me, myself, and I. Me, myself, and I. That's so funny. It's me, myself, and I, the person who is aware that I am doing this. Interesting. So, choosing yourself. Why is that so difficult? Why is it so difficult to put yourself first? To really care about yourself, to really nurture and love yourself the way that maybe you want other people to, right? We often look to a relationship, we look to a partner, we look to our friends, we look to our community to nurture us, to love us, to see us, to hear us, to understand us, to make us feel that we belong, to make us feel a feeling that we have and want in our experience. But what if you were the only one that could give yourself that? What if the love that you were looking for and the love that you are maybe seeking and the love that you want from a partner or from your friends or from the people in your life or maybe from the world in general? What if that love won't actually come from them? What if they'll never actually fill you up? What if that love has to come from a different place? What if that love has to come from you, right? We've all heard stories, and I've experienced this in my own life, where, man, I was surrounded by people. I'd be surrounded by a lot of people, even friends, people that I called friends, and yet I still felt alone. And yet I still felt disconnected. And yet I still felt like I was living in a shadow. And then there's times on my own where I'd feel that way too. What was interesting for me is like, whoa, no matter where I go, this feeling is kind of here. Well, that's because no one can give us that. No one can fully nurture ourselves, love ourselves the way that we want to, the way that we need to, other than ourselves. Now, it can help to have people love us, right? Like, I'm not saying this isn't black and white. Both of them feed off each other. It can help to have people love and hold space for us and hold a safe space for us to unfold and learn and see something and maybe experience that love, for sure. But at the end of the day, that love comes from you. It's you meeting yourself and you seeing yourself and you loving yourself. So choosing ourselves, I believe, is so hard because we've grown up in a world that speaks and shares of how we should take care of others, especially if you're a woman. Be a good girl. Be a nice girl. All these phrases and lingo that we've heard from our parents, from our teachers, from society. Don't stand up for yourself. Put everybody first. Put everybody's needs above yours. Men, in some ways as well. Be the people pleaser. Be a nice man. Be a good man in that way. Put everyone else above you. And at some point, there comes a day, a time, when we realize that, hey, maybe that doesn't work. Maybe that's not actually it. Maybe these narratives that I've been told where I'm sacrificing what I want and what's best for me for the sake of you is no longer serving me. Like, when I look back to my relationships in my life and I look into those relationships, man, I people pleased so hard. And the only reason that I people pleased was simply to get love. I thought that this is who I had to be in order to receive and get love from somebody. So when I was in a relationship with my son's mom, a lot of that was people pleasing. I would walk on eggshells. I wouldn't say how I really felt and what I really wanted to say. I would hold those things back because I was scared that if I brought that up, if I brought that conflict or maybe how I was feeling, that it would create conflict. And in that conflict, then she would leave. So I thought it was safer and easier for me to not choose myself because I was scared of getting into conflict. It was easier for me not to do that. So I would just shut up and go along with it, right? Even with people in my life. Like, this was when I first started becoming aware of this aspect of things, it completely blew my mind how much of a nice guy I really was. Man, I would say yes to things just because people wanted me to do it. I didn't want to do it, but I would say yes because I was too scared of saying no to let people down. And so I was this perpetual nice guy. My whole identity was built upon that and built around that. And then I started to see that of like, wow, dude. I started to unpack the layers, like in that relationship with my son's mom. I started to realize that by me avoiding conflict, by me not sharing what it is that I feel, what it is that I think, and what was going on for me, in hopes of avoiding conflict, I actually created conflict within myself. I created more conflict within me that I now had to deal with. I had to deal with this resentment and this tension and this stress that I was experiencing because I wasn't willing to share what was going on for me. I wasn't willing to choose myself. I wasn't willing to put myself first. I wasn't willing to love myself. So I stayed in conflict. And because I stayed in conflict, my heart hardened. I started to seek distractions and numb. I had to deal with that because what we suppress, what we swallow, what we don't share, we have to deal with that inside our body. It's like we put that into a backpack and now we have to carry that weight. And how we carry that weight is through numbing, is through distracting, is through running, is through avoidance, is through resentment building up, is through those arguments and those things, like for me, when I was with my son's mom, a lot of it would come back to of like, oh, you did this wrong. You threw out this. Why would you do that? And I just blow up over the simplest things. But was it because of that simple thing? No. It was because the unexpressed feelings and emotions and thoughts that were circulating in my being, from me not honoring myself, for me not choosing myself, for me not loving myself to be able to speak what it is that I'm feeling. I didn't even think that I counted, that I mattered. And so I think it's so hard to choose ourselves because there's so much guilt. There's so much shame. We've got this society messaging for most of our lives that, hey, you got to be the nice girl. You got to be the nice guy. So if I put myself first, well, I feel yucky. I feel guilty. I feel shame. Oh, I shouldn't do that. Right? Because maybe we saw our mom not do that. Maybe we saw our mom cower to our father and cater to every single one of our father's demands. And in that process, she lost herself. Maybe we saw that with her father. We see it modeled so much in society. And so I think it becomes so hard to choose ourselves because we have to begin to face that conflict. We have to begin to face that shame and that guilt. The feelings of, oh, it's wrong to do this. It's selfish. Somebody's going to say something. My mom's going to come and tell me imaginatively. This might not actually happen in life, but we might feel like it's going to happen, that my mom's going to come and say, you shouldn't do that. Bad girl, bad boy, whatever the case is, right? We have to understand that the reason why we are who we are in this moment, experiencing what we're experiencing, is the effect of something. We live in a causal plane where there's cause and effect. There is a primary cause for why we are the way that we are. And it's about understanding that and bringing awareness to that. Now, do I think that we have to dig into why for every single little thing? No. But is it helpful to bring awareness, to bring context to what is happening for us in any moment? Is it helpful to bring awareness and context to why is it that it's really hard to choose myself? Where did that come from? Why is it that I don't speak what I really want to say and I don't share what I really feel? Why is it that I hold myself back? Why is it that I don't take care of myself in the best of ways? Why is it that I self-sabotage? It's really helpful to build a context of awareness around that. Because once we see it, once we understand it, then we can begin to look at the parts of us that maybe need some love, maybe need some acknowledgement, celebration, or gratitude. Maybe there's a hurt little boy and a hurt little girl behind this pattern of not choosing ourselves, that just needs love, that needs a voice, that needs to speak, that needs encouragement because maybe they got beat down. Maybe they were ashamed, maybe they're told not to. And so in some ways, this comes back to reparenting ourselves. Really looking at, really opening that and learning how to take care of ourselves, learning how to choose ourselves, learning how to put ourselves first, learning how to speak what it is that we want to say and speak what it is that we feel. It's like we're reparenting that little girl, a little boy that never had that opportunity. We're giving that little girl, that little boy permission to begin to do that, to begin to share, to begin to speak. And that's powerful. That's healing. That's beautiful. Because in my own experience, in my own life, just to give an example from my life, like I wasn't allowed to speak up. And I thought that I had to be nice, right? I saw my father put up with a lot of my mother's stuff, and my mother put up a lot with my father's stuff. I saw them pleasing each other. But deep down, I could see the bitterness and resentment that came from both of them. I saw my dad just keep catering to my mom and my mom keep catering to my dad when it's like, hey guys, should we really be here? You know, I remember when I was a child, they came into mine and my sister's room at the time because we were sharing a room, and they shared that they were going to get a divorce. And then me and my sister just started crying. We just started bawling and like, no, how could you? And they stayed together for the kids because of what me and my sister did and how we reacted to that. And looking back, I understand it. I get it. I see it. But it really shaped me and molded me to be a particular way. You know, then growing up, it's like, how did I get attention? Well, I was nice. How did I get attention from women? Well, I was nice to women. But deep down, that niceness was always there to get something. It's like I was nice because I simply wanted sex. And that's how I operated a lot of my life, of my younger years. It was like I was nice to women just because I wanted to have sex. It wasn't actually to give, and it wasn't kindness. It wasn't from the heart. It wasn't selfless. It was to get something. A lot of my niceness was wrapped up in trying to get something from someone. And when I saw and looked deeper into that pattern, what I saw was just a hurt little boy. A hurt little boy who wanted to be loved, who wanted to be cared for, who wanted attention, and who wanted validation. So my process began in two ways. Like, number one, spending time with that little boy. Like, hey, dude, like, I'm so sorry you had to experience what you experienced. I see you. You matter. You're enough. Really acknowledging that part of me and really acknowledging myself in that way. And at the same time, in this now reality, this moment here, beginning to do things where I chose myself and I would choose myself. So instead of not speaking how I feel, right? Like I'd be in a situation with a friend and something would come up for me. And instead of speaking that, or instead of not speaking that and holding that in, I would begin to share that. I would take that risk. I would ask for permission, because that's a really beautiful step. One really beautiful step to begin to move from not speaking to speaking is simply, hey, can I share something with you that just came up for me? Right? It's almost like we're asking for permission for them to share. And 95% of the time, the person is going to say yes. So it gives us this opportunity and almost takes the pressure off of just like having to say it and having to blurt it out, right? Because that can feel crazy. Like it can feel crazy holding that thing in that you really want to say and then just blurting it out. And then that can create some sort of like kind of unsafety in that other person, which can cause them to react, which can cause this kind of like pattern of like, ooh, when I say how I feel or when I speak what it is that I want to say, it creates this reaction where I then get shamed or I then get judged, or why would you say something like that, or this, or just like that anger, hostility that can come towards it. But when we ask permission, it almost opens the door and opens the space to allow that to come into our lives, to allow us to actually share that and that to be receptive and to be received from the other person. And so that can be super helpful. So I began to, in this now moment, began to choose myself in those moments. I began to love myself in that way. Because choosing yourself and loving yourself are very closely related. They're almost intertwined, like interwoven, and everything is interwoven, right? Self-respect, similar thing. So self-love and choosing yourself, it's really two sides of the same coin. When you choose yourself, you're choosing love. And that's the most important thing that we can do. Because when you really choose yourself, when you really put yourself first, everything that you do becomes better. If you really fill up your own cup and you really nourish yourself to the point at which your cup is overflowing, then the people in your life, your community, your family, your children, if you have children, your friends, they can begin to drink from the overflow. They can begin to drink from the leftovers and the pouring out of your own cup. And how beautiful would that feel? How wonderful would that feel? To give from the overflow, to fill up your cup so much that everybody else's cups get filled up because of who you are, because of how you carry yourself and how you're holding yourself. It's like, would you rather spend time with your friends, with your family, with the people in your life at a 10% capacity, not taking care of yourself? Or would you rather spend even 30 minutes with them, with your full presence, with your full being, with the full gift of who you are, with a cup that's radiating and overflowing? Well, chances are you probably want to spend that 30 minutes with them. So how do we begin to choose ourselves? How do we begin to put ourselves first in that way? I believe that this is something that we all know. We all know how to take care of ourselves. We all know how to really nurture ourselves. We all know how to really care for ourselves. And there's a couple of different ways that we can begin this. The first way and question that I would ask is, what currently drains you of energy? What are you doing? Who are you spending time with that currently drains you of energy? We don't want to pick a bunch of things. We just want to get clear on one thing that we can take action on right away. And I'm going to do this with you, right? So I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to pause and I'm going to sit with my own life and be like, what's one thing that I do that really drains me of energy? So the thing that comes up for me is I don't have a regular schedule. I don't have a bedtime. I don't have a wake up time. And while on one hand, that's really beautiful that I get to live my life in that way. I get to go to bed whenever I want to go to bed. I get to wake up whenever I get to wake up. And for the most part, that feels really good. I can see how that drains me of energy though, because it almost feels out of control. It almost feels like I'm not really taking care of myself there. I'm letting myself just stay up super late and watch movies. I'm letting myself stay up super late and work. I'm letting myself stay up super late and distract myself. And when I look at those things, it's like, well, that's not really taking care of myself. It's not really choosing myself. That's not really loving myself in the way that I could. And what's interesting about choosing yourself and loving yourself in this conversation is it requires us to get honest with ourselves. It requires us to look at our lives, to look at our actions, to look at our habits, to look how we eat, the water that we drink, how we treat ourselves, how we talk to ourselves, the things that we do. And be honest. Like, is drinking that glass of wine or having 3 beers a night, is that really choosing yourself? Is that really taking care of yourself? Is eating the garbage food, the McDonald's, the fast food, eating the way that you might be eating, is that really taking care of yourself? Is that really nurturing you? The time that you spend on social media, scrolling, or staying on your phone too late, is that really taking care of yourself, right? Like, this can look a lot of different ways. But it requires us to be honest. It requires us to get honest with like, hey, wow, I'm actually not taking the best care of myself right now. I'm actually not choosing myself right now. Wow, that kind of sucks. I feel that. Okay. I feel whatever I feel. I'm going to let that go now. I'm going to choose to celebrate myself for seeing this, for seeing that this is happening, for having the awareness, and then having the courage to do something. Having the courage to take another step, right? To take a step to end that particular thing. And so I'll make a commitment to you guys that for the next 7 days, I will go to bed and be in bed by 9:30. And that feels really good for me. Feels a little bit edgy. Now I got to hold that commitment, right? If I let you guys down, oh snap, here we go. I can feel that a little bit. But that's what we get to do. So we get to look at what's training ourselves. Then we'll also look at the question, where in our life are we not speaking how we feel or sharing what we think? Where are we holding back? Where are we not owning what's really going on for us? Where are we just going with what everybody else thinks or what they think? Rather than really tuning into us and knowing what's right. Because the beautiful thing about this is you always know what's right. We always know what's right for us. Like, I don't know if you've ever been in one of those situations where what you're about to do is wrong. Right? For me, it reminds me of a time when I was younger and we're in Nicky Nine dooring people's houses, like ringing the doorbells and running away. And I had this feeling that it was wrong. I had this feeling like it wasn't a good thing to do. And yet I did it anyways. You know, you think about the first time that I smoked pot. It wasn't about pot itself. It was about, I had this feeling that I didn't want to do it, but everybody else was doing it. And so I did it because everybody else was doing it. It's the same thing when, let's say, virginity. When I lost that, it's because everybody else was losing theirs, not because I actually wanted that. And so we want to look into our lives for where that could be happening. Where is that happening in our lives in this moment? Where are we abandoning ourselves by choosing to please another? Because that's what that is. In that process to avoid conflict, we're creating conflict within that we have to deal with in our heart. And choosing ourselves begins to mean not standing for that anymore. In small, subtle ways, right? Maybe there's a lot of places in your life that you're doing this. Maybe there's not many places. It's about being willing to look into your life and see, where is that occurring? Where am I doing that? Where is that showing up for me? So take a moment and sit with that. Sit with the question of, where in my life am I people pleasing? Where in my life am I not sharing what I feel? Where I'm not sharing what I think? Where I'm going along with everybody else and everything else? And I'll do the same. Ooh, ooh, this is a juicy one. It's one that actually we'll get to have a conversation with Dono about. In relation to the podcast, I often step back a little bit because I don't want to own too much. I don't want to take up too much space. Like in the beginning of the podcast, when we first go, it sometimes takes us a little bit of time to get into it because I'm scared of really leading it. I'm scared of really owning it. I'm scared of really stepping in and taking the reins because I don't want Dono to feel uncomfortable. I don't want Dono to feel inferior. I don't want there to be that tension there. And so instead, I don't say anything, I don't speak. And I'm left feeling this tension in myself at the beginning instead of just stepping in and owning that. So that's going to be a funny one if Donna watches this. I'll get to tune in and have a conversation with Donna about that and really own that. And this is the beautiful thing about choosing yourself that I really want to speak into in this moment, is that this is a forever process. This is a relationship. Self-love and choosing yourself is a relationship. It's a constant thing that happens on a moment-to-moment basis because we're always moving in life. Life is always changing and growing, and as we grow and as we change, life changes. And so there's always going to be an opportunity to choose yourself in deeper ways. And all that we want to do is just bring awareness and bring our attention to where we're doing that in this moment, and then taking an action to stop that. And so I want to invite you into action around that, a commitment. Share whether you're watching this on YouTube, whether you want to hit me through email, whether you want to reach out to us through socials at We Are Being Human. Make a commitment around this and share whatever that might be. Wherever you're holding yourself back, commit to taking one step to sharing that for you. So whether it's with a friend, ask that friend to have a conversation with you. Say that you really want to share something. You've been holding something back. And I really want to show up in a different way in this friendship. And it would mean a lot to me if you just hear me out for 5 minutes. Maybe it's with a family member. Be like, hey, Dad, hey, Mom. There's something coming up for me and I really want to share this with you. Or maybe it's your partner, right? These closer knit relationships that we have are often where those leaks occur. And so we can invite our partner and say, hey, babe, honey, hon, whatever we want to say. There's something I really want to share with you that's on my heart. Can I share that with you? It doesn't have to be now, but is there a time and space that I can share that with you? I haven't been fully honest with you. I haven't been fully sharing my feelings and my thoughts, right? These things are all scary. They're all scary things to do, right? Because it requires us to confront that part of us that's scared of ruffling feathers, that's scared of that conflict. And if we really go into that, it usually comes back to there's a fear that we're going to be abandoned. Right? If I bring to my partner what I'm really feeling, he might freak out. He might leave the relationship. She might leave the relationship. And if she leaves or he leaves, then I won't have their love anymore. So I'm going to be left on my own. I'm going to be feeling lonely and abandoned and feeling this feeling that's inside of my body. So instead of feeling this and facing off with it, I'm just going to swallow what I think and what I feel. Because it's better than me feeling that feeling and the possibility of that feeling. And that feeling is probably a familiar feeling that you felt before in your life, correct? It's probably a feeling that maybe your mom left you or maybe your dad left you. Maybe there's an experience in your life or multiple experiences where you felt that feeling. That deep void of pain. And that's what you're really scared of. Now, in most cases, that's where it comes back from. It might be different for you. But taking action and moving through that allows us to heal that. It allows us to bring that part of us and realize that, hey, we can share what we think, we can share what we feel, and we're still going to be okay. We are still loved because I love me. And that's what choosing ourselves and loving ourselves is. It's coming back into that place of I love me. I'm going to choose me because I'm tired of not choosing me. And there's such a power to that. There's such a strength in that. So wherever that is for you, I encourage you to take one step. Reach out, share what that is. Take one step. One little tiny step that you can take. Maybe you don't have to deal with the big dragon. Maybe you just have one of those little ones that you just knock off. Maybe it's a friend. Maybe it's your boss. Maybe it's a coworker. Maybe it's your sister. Maybe it's your kid. But just whatever that is, take one step. Because awareness without action doesn't bring us anywhere. Awareness with action brings us to change. And that's what allows us to experience something different. And this was hella hard for me. It was hella hard for me to start speaking and sharing how it is that I felt. And it's still scary. It's still edgy. I still remember having conversations with Donald about things of like, yo, dude, I remember this happened. I didn't share it with you because I felt scared. He's like, yeah, I get that. We all get that, right? And we're looking at just building safety around that, taking one little small step. And the final question is, how can you choose yourself in this moment? How could you love yourself in this moment? In this moment when you're listening to this, really tune into your body. Really tune into your experience and what's going on for you right now. Really tune into the totality of your life. And ask yourself, what do you need in this moment? What is a way that you can choose you and love you in this moment? What is something that you can do to nurture yourself in a really good way? It could be a hug. It could be an acknowledgement. Hey, you've been really struggling lately. Life has been really hard for you lately. You've been carrying a lot. I'm so sorry that that's been happening for you. You can let it go now. Maybe it's, hey, you're actually a really good person. You're a really good woman, a really good man, really beautiful man, really beautiful woman. You're really beautiful and you matter. Whether it is choosing to nourish yourself with something that nourishes you rather than drains you. Maybe it's taking a warm shower. Maybe it's sitting for an hour and crocheting. Maybe it's going for a walk. Maybe it is slowing down and having a meditation. There's lots of different ways to do this. And you really want to tune into what's nourishing for you. What nourishes your heart? Not my heart, not your partner's heart, but your heart. And if you don't know what that is, that can be the first step of saying, hey, I don't know how to nourish myself. I don't know how to take care of myself. It requires that honesty and that bravery to share that. Because from that I don't know, something will come. And if you really don't know, one really good thing that I like to look back to, what did I enjoy when I was a kid? What did I enjoy as a child? And looking back at those moments, maybe I enjoyed dance. Maybe I enjoyed being in nature. Maybe I enjoyed building things. Maybe I enjoyed video games. What did you enjoy? That can often bring back a way of nourishing ourselves, of speaking life into that part of us. And so those three things, what drains you? Where are you holding back? Where are you not choosing yourself and choosing somebody else over you? And what's a way to nourish yourself? If you slowly chip away at those three things over the course of this year, even the next couple of months, you'd be surprised at how much of a relationship you can actually build with yourself. And how much more you'll be choosing yourself. Because when you choose yourself, when you choose you, you step out of the shadow and into love. You step out of fear and into love. And life is so much better in love. So that's it for this podcast. I'm going to leave you there. I love you so much. Donald loves you so much. We love you so much. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being who you are, the gift that you are. Follow us on all socials. We're live on TikTok and Instagram. And most importantly, let us know how this podcast impacted you. Let us know what you got from it. Let us know what you learned. Let us know what you discovered. Let us know maybe what triggered you. Let us hear a little bit about your story, about you. So you can share that in the comments down below. Send us a message on Instagram or TikTok. TikTok. Just reach out to us. You're not alone in this world. You're not alone in what you're learning and what you're experiencing. And you're definitely not alone in being human. This is what the journey is all about, and this is what the podcast is all about. So from my heart to yours, so much love, and I'll see you. We'll see you. I'll see you. We have a wonderful guest. 2 wonderful guests coming on the podcast next week. And after that, Donald returns. From my heart to yours, so much love.